obsessed about growth? In today's episode, I'll share with you what I think makes me obsessed about growth. More about that right after the intro. Welcome to Day One Journey, episode 313. Ching. Yeah! So if you remember, in the last few episodes, I shared with you all the things that I think make me obsessed about growth. And to be honest, for a long time, I did know that I am obsessed about growth. But I didn't know really what are the specific, tangible things that make me obsessed about growth. My good friend of mine, Stacy, kept asking me in the last few weeks, how do you know that you're obsessed about growth? And by the way, she's the only one I'm talking about these episodes before I'm making them. So she kept asking me for the last few weeks, how do I know that I'm obsessed? And specifically obsessed about growth. And that took me on an interesting journey of realizing the tangible things, at least that I think, makes me obsessed about growth. And the first one, as I was sharing with you, is not having a stop button. Meaning, if you give me the time and the space to practice, to get better, to do what I'm passionate about, I just won't stop. This is the first thing that I think makes me obsessed about growth. The second thing is that in most cases, I just isolate myself. I just isolate myself so I can practice without any commitments, any distractions. Usually the people that I was practicing with got tired with me because I was pushing sometimes too much. So I was ending up isolating myself. And that's the second thing I shared with you that I think makes me obsessed about growth. The third thing I was sharing with you is that I always look for the small details. I'm obsessed about the small details, especially when it comes down to practicing and getting better and excelling in specific areas in my life that I'm passionate about. I focus on these small details while still acknowledging the deep, powerful connection between them and the bigger picture and the long-term vision that I see for myself that I want to move towards. So yes, being obsessed about the details and the connection of them to the bigger picture of the long term. And long term, I mean 10, 20, 50 years. And the fourth thing I was sharing with you was my tendency to go deeper rather than wider. Yes, going deeper, dissect everything in a deeper level. Again, getting the small details, thinking long term. So these were the four things that I was sharing with you that I think makes me obsessed about growth. I just can't stop practicing. I don't have the stop button. I end up isolating myself. I always go for the small details, thinking super long term, 10, 20, 50 years into the future, and always prefers to go deeper than wider. And part of the journey for me of realizing these specific things were after I was reading the books I was sharing with you about. The books in which I read fascinating stories of other people that were also described as having this obsession for growth. And in one of these books, this obsession for growth at a 3-word definition. A 3-word definition that when I read it, it got me to a really powerful realization about myself. And for me, I think about these 3 words as the source, as the reason for my obsession about growth. And I will share with you in the next episode these 3 super powerful words, at least powerful for me, that as I see it are the source of my obsession for growth. So back to you. Think about one area in your life that you're obsessed about, or something that is just very important to you. And then ask yourself, what makes you obsessed about this particular thing? What specific thing within this specific area makes it so important to you? Maybe you also don't have the stop button. When you start doing it, you just can't stop. Maybe you're also obsessed about the small details, about this particular thing that you are either obsessed about, or this is just something that is super important to you in your life. Do this exercise today and ask yourself, what makes this thing so important to you? What makes you obsessed about this particular thing in your life? And do this exercise today. Yes, today. And of course, have an amazing day 1. See you tomorrow.